This podcast is brought to you by The Senior Techie, a source of information for seniors and others about technology. I want to start today with a story. It's one of those things that really just explains why we're even talking about this.
Okay.
Imagine someone you know, maybe a neighbor, who's been feeling dizzy for weeks, a little tired. She just thinks, oh, it's stress or I'm not sleeping well.
Happens all the time.
Right. So she puts off calling the doctor. And then one day, she collapses in her kitchen. The paramedics get there. And her blood pressure is at a level that, it's an immediate, severe stroke risk. She had no idea.
And that's just it, isn't it? That whole scenario is, It's terrifyingly common, but it's also so preventable now.
That's what we want to get into.
Yeah. Our whole mission today is to really look at what's called home health monitoring, or HHM. And for our audience, adults 55 and up, we want to cut through the noise.
There's a lot of noise.
There is. This isn't about some fancy new gadget that counts your steps. This is about simple, truly easy-to-use devices that track the numbers your doctor actually cares about. The big ones: blood pressure, heart rate, blood oxygen, and glucose.
I think for a lot of us, when we hear home medical equipment, we picture these clunky, complicated machines from, 20 years ago.
And you'd have been right to think that. But that's the core finding from the Senior Techie. The medical device industry, they've finally had this fundamental shift. They get it now.
Get what? Exactly.
That the technology has to be invisible. It has to be intuitive. Seniors want a device that just works out of the box, that sends the data where it needs to go automatically. And crucially, that doesn't make you feel like you need a PhD just to get a reading. Ease of use is finally number one.
And that ease of use, I think it fixes the biggest single flaw in traditional healthcare.
Which is?
Well, think about your last doctor visit. You go in, they take your vitals. It's a 15-minute snapshot.
Once every few months, if you're lucky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they make huge decisions based on that one moment.
You're so right. What happens in all those weeks and months in between, that data, it just vanishes. It's a black hole.
Right.
And home health monitoring, it fills that gap. You're not giving your doctor a snapshot anymore. You're giving them the whole movie.
That also helps with, the white coat syndrome. I know my blood pressure goes up just sitting in the waiting room.
Oh, it's a real physiological thing. Absolutely. You get anxious in a clinical setting, and your reading can be artificially high, sometimes by 10, even 20 points.
And that's not your real number.
It's not your real average, no. By monitoring at home, where you're relaxed, doctors get to see the actual trends. They can adjust your medication based on, say, 30 accurate readings, not just one skewed one from the office.
And this isn't just theory. This has been proven to work. The numbers on this are pretty stunning. Remote patient monitoring programs have reduced hospital readmissions for heart failure patients by 38%.
38%. Just stop and think about that number. It's transformative.
Why is this so high?
It's about proactive intervention. Before, a patient's condition would get worse for a week. Maybe they're retaining fluid, their pressure's creeping up. But the doctor finds out when they're in the ER.
Too late.
Way too late. With this, the doctor sees the pressure tick up for 3 days in a row. They can just call, adjust a medication over the phone, and completely avoid a crisis.
And that's why the system is finally paying attention. The Senior Techie pointed out that Medicare started covering these RPM programs back in 2019.
Which is huge. That only happens when the data proves it saves lives and it saves money.
Yeah.
But, and this is an important but for everyone listening,
Okay.
while Medicare is getting on board, private insurance is all over the map. So you really have to check your specific plan to see what's covered, especially for the devices themselves.
Let's get into those specifics then. The 4 big measurements, starting with the big one, blood pressure. The silent threat.
It really is. It's invisible. You can walk around with dangerously high blood pressure and feel completely fine until you don't, until it causes a stroke or a heart attack.
We see 2 numbers on the reading. Can you just quickly break down what systolic and diastolic are?
Sure. The top number, systolic, that's the pressure when your heart beats. When it's pushing blood out.
The peak pressure.
The peak pressure, exactly. And the bottom number, diastolic, is the pressure when your heart rests between beats. Now, both matter, but for seniors, doctors are really focused on that top number, that systolic pressure. It's a much better predictor of stroke risk.
And because that number is so critical, the Senior Techie really hammered home that accuracy is everything.
Paramount. Look, a lot of the cheap monitors you see online can be off by 10 points or more.
And 10 points is the difference between we should watch this and you need to change your medication today.
Exactly. So how do you know what to trust? This is a key resource. Write this down. validatebp.org.
validatebpp.od.org.
Yep. It's run by the American Medical Association. If a device isn't on that list, you should question its readings. Simple as that. You'll find specific models on there from brands like Omron, A&D Medical, the ones the medical community actually trusts.
Okay. Moving to number 2, heart rate and rhythm. This is about more than just how fast your heart is beating.
Yes, this is about catching irregularities, arrhythmias. And the big one we worry about is atrial fibrillation, or AFib.
I've heard of that.
It affects over 6 million Americans, and often you might not even feel it, but it dramatically increases your risk of stroke.
Why does an irregular beat cause a stroke?
It's a plumbing problem, really. In AFib, the top chambers of the heart sort of quiver instead of beating properly.
Yeah.
Blood doesn't flow through smoothly, so it can pool in little corners and form clots.
And if one of those clots gets out?
If it travels to the brain, that's a stroke. But the amazing thing is, if you catch AFib, medication can reduce that stroke risk by 60 to 80%.
60 to 80%.
Yeah.
That's life-changing.
It absolutely is. And while some smart watches can give you a hint, the real medical-grade solution here are devices like the KardioMobile.
Right.
You hold it for 30 seconds, it records a medical-grade EKG, and sends it right to your phone or your doctor. It can spot AFib, but also other things like a dangerously slow or fast heart rate.
Okay, third measurement, blood oxygen or SpO2.
Right. For anyone with a lung condition like COPD or even heart failure, this is vital. Normal is 95% or higher. If you're consistently dipping below 90, that needs attention.
Now, the senior techie had a really important safety alert on these devices.
They did. The FDA issued a warning a few years ago that many cheap pulse oximeters can be inaccurate, especially for people with darker skin tones.
It's a huge problem.
It's a massive problem because it can lead to people not getting the treatment they need. So again, accuracy matters. You want to look for FDA-cleared devices. They might cost a bit more, but you need to trust the number. Something like a Nonin or a Masimo MightySat.
Got it. And finally, number 4, blood glucose. This seems to be where the technology is really exploding.
It's a total game changer for anyone managing diabetes. I mean, for decades, it was painful finger sticks multiple times a day.
And you only got one reading for that moment in time.
Exactly. It was a snapshot.
Yep.
But now we have continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs. It's a little sensor you wear, and it tracks your glucose levels 24/7. No more finger sticks.
So you see the trends, not just the single number.
You see the whole movie. You can catch a dangerous low in the middle of the night that you would have completely missed before. And for doctors, this data lets them fine-tune medications with incredible precision.
And the results are measurable.
Very. Using a CGM can lower your 3-month average glucose, your A1C, by 0.5 point to a full point.
For a non-diabetic, how big a deal is that?
It's a very big deal. That drop directly translates to a major reduction in long-term complications, vision loss, kidney problems, nerve damage. It's huge. The big names here are Freestyle Libre and Dexcom. You do need a prescription for them, though.
Okay, so we know what to measure. But you can have the best device in the world, and if you use it wrong, the data is useless.
100%.
So how do we take readings that actually count?
First thing, for blood pressure, always use an upper arm monitor, not a wrist monitor. The reporting from the senior techie is clear on this. The readings are just more reliable from the upper arm.
Okay. Arm over wrist. What else?
Technique. Your arm should be supported right at heart level. The cuff needs to be snug, but not strangling you.
And what about before you take it?
This is key. Sit quietly for 5 minutes first, no talking, and definitely no coffee or exercise for at least 30 minutes before.
That morning coffee rule is a tough one.
I know, but you need a true resting reading. And don't just take one. Take 2 or 3 readings a minute apart and average them. That gives your doctor a much more stable number to work with.
But the real challenge for everyone is consistency, right? Making it a habit.
It's the most important part. I mean, 1 reading is just noise. 10 readings start to show something. But 30 readings over a month, that's real information. That's data a doctor can confidently act on.
Does the time of day matter?
Immensely. You need to measure at the same time every day, and mornings are best. That's when blood pressure naturally rises, and it's also, sadly, when most heart attacks and strokes happen.
So how do you build that routine?
Habit stacking. Set a loud reminder on your phone. Or even better, put the device right next to something you already use every single morning.
Like the coffee maker.
Exactly. Or your toothbrush. If you have to physically move the blood pressure cuff to get to your coffee, you're going to remember to use it.
All right, so you've done all this. You have a month of perfect data. How do you get it to your doctor?
Most modern devices connect with an app on your phone. They make nice charts. They store the history. The first thing to do is just ask your doctor's office if they have a patient portal you can upload to.
But let's be realistic. A lot of offices are,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, not on the cutting edge of tech.
A very fair point. If they're not integrated, you can still use the app to print or email a clean PDF report. And if all else fails, a simple spreadsheet works. The format is less important than the data itself.
Now, the elephant in the room, cost. This sounds expensive.
It can be. The good news is, for certain conditions, Medicare does cover blood pressure monitors and glucose meters, and they cover the monitoring service, which is the important part.
But without insurance.
Without insurance, yes, it adds up. A good FDA-cleared oximeter might be $100, $200. CGMs are the priciest, since you need new sensors every month. That can be a couple $100s a month.
So what's the best advice for someone worried about that price tag?
Ask. Ask your doctor's office about patient assistance programs. Most of the big device manufacturers have programs to help people who can't afford the cost. It's always, always worth asking.
So as we wrap up, I think the most important mindset shift is this. Don't obsess over one single bad reading.
Please don't. You're looking for patterns, not perfection. Your doctor will give you thresholds. They'll say, call me if your systolic is over 160, or let us know if your oxygen is below 88.
Those are your action numbers.
Those are the only numbers that matter. The rest is just data for the trend line.
It's also so important to separate this from, a fitness tracker.
Oh, completely different worlds. A fitness tracker measures wellness, how many steps you took. That's great. Home health monitoring measures a specific medical condition. One is for motivation, the other provides life-saving clinical data.
And this isn't some far-off future technology. I mean, it's here. Alexa integration, AI that can spot a problem developing over weeks.
It's all happening now, and it comes down to one simple truth. Doctors can't treat what they don't know about. Home monitoring gives them eyes on your condition every single day, and that is the very definition of proactive healthcare.
This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to keep up with their newsletters, you can subscribe for free by going to theseniortechie.com.